Hey guys, welcome back to another Clash Royale video, and today we'll be doing another power list ranking in Clash Royale, ranking every single card in the game updated for the new meta this season. We've got a bunch of changes this season since my previous video doing a tier list last month, and I figured it'd be a good idea to do an updated video for you guys showing the new power rankings inside the Clash Royale. So let's go ahead guys and jump right into it here. At the end of the video, I'll show a comparison of this month versus the last month of my tier list ranking. And you guys and girls can let me know what you think as well. But we've got 7 tiers on the list here, guys, ranging from S+, very, very strong, to all the way to being very, very weak or needing a redesign altogether. I've got 2 cards, in my opinion, belonging in the S+, very strong tier. And those ones are, number 1, the Royal Delivery, and number 2, the Goblin Cage, guys. Both of these cards got massive buffs in the May balance update. The Royal Delivery itself catapulted all the way from last month of being a D-list card, very, very weak, all the way to S+, one of the strongest cards in the entire game, all because of one buff, okay? The Royal Delivery now is one of the most versatile cards in the entire game. It works in basically any deck and can defend basically anything. Whether you're defending air with a knockback or defending a massive beatdown push with Golem, the Royal Delivery is effective for basically anything, which is why the use rates and win rates are so insanely high in the month of May. So definitely think the Royal Delivery is S+ strong right now, guys. And I wouldn't be surprised if it got nerfed in the next month. Honestly, though, I'm kind of okay with it. I'm kind of happy having the Royal Delivery in the meta right now because it's a very effective counter for all those kind of like golden beatdown decks, for example. And it's just kind of like a funner card overall to have in the meta right now. Goblin Cage as well, guys, got a pretty nice buff in this balance update and is being used in basically every deck right now because of how effective it is. It isn't nearly as OP as the Delivery is, but definitely is an S+ tier card in my opinion. Now, archers, once again, guys, are average, no change there. Arrow is still a good card, sorry, no change there. Baby Dragon used to be an S strong card last month, but with the nerf to the health of the Baby Dragon, it now goes down to just being an A tier good card. Now that's still good, obviously. It isn't nearly as brokenly overpowered as it once was previously. More in line of where it should be, okay? Because Baby Dragon was OP for a while there, so definitely kind of like nothing bad there with the Baby Dragon going down a tier, but still a overall kind of like good card in the game. Balloon's still a good card, one of the stronger win conditions in Clash Royale. Bandit is sneakily strong. She's going to be an A tier good card as well. Works in a lot of different decks, provides value, kind of just does a lot of good things as well. Barbarian Barrel still a good card as well. Barbarian Hut. This is a card that used to be, I believe, S tier or A tier last season with how strong it was. A lot of the spawners have big changes this month with all the changes, and the Barbarian Hut I now consider a weak card. If you guys remember, in May, they nerfed the health of Barbarian Hut, Infernus, and Goblin Hut. They used to all be kind of like very strong. Like Barbarian Hut and Goblin Hut were dominating last season. Infernus wasn't really good previously, but got nerfed anyways. But Barbarian Hut definitely dropping down here from being like a good card in the game to now being weak. Currently has a, I think, 40% win rate, according to Royale API. So definitely a weaker card in the game. 50% win rate is considered like average. And Barbarian Hut is lower at 40%. Barbarian's going to be an average card, work in some decks, do what they're supposed to do, but aren't overwhelmingly OP. Bats, however, I think the Bats are low-key flying under the radar for how strong they are. I think they're kind of like one of those cards that a year from now, people might realize like, wow, Bats are actually OP. But I think Bats are an S tier strong card in the game. If you don't have an answer for them like Zaspel immediately, they get so much value for your opponent. So definitely think Bats are an S tier strong card. Battle Healer is another card that used to be up here. S tier strong last season. Obviously, she got a bit of a health nerf. So now she's going to be more of an A tier good card. She's still effective for what she's supposed to do. She still works in those E-Golem decks. But one thing to consider right now is the Royal Delivery. The Royal Delivery and, to a lesser extent, the Goblin Cage as well are keeping the Battle Healer in check. The reason I say that is Delivery is so effective at destroying those E-Golem Battle Healer Dragon decks. Because if you guys remember, the basically only deck that Battle Healer worked in was E-Golem, Battle Healer, Baby Dragon, and E-Dragon. But the Delivery destroys all of that. It calms down, has high damage, knocks everything back, dealing high damage, and the knockback prevents the Battle Healer from healing. She dies a lot faster. I think if we see a nerf for the Royal Delivery, which I wouldn't be surprised if we did see a nerf for that card, if we see a nerf for Royal Delivery, I wouldn't be surprised if Battle Healer kind of came back into the meta a bit more than she is right now. But definitely, I think still a good card. And then obviously with the buff to the damage of the Goblin Cage, the Goblin Brawler destroys the Battle Healer a little bit faster as well, so she isn't as effective as she once was. Barbarian Barrel, sorry, Battle Ram here, average card. Bomber, average. Bomb Tower, I think, used to be up here S tier strong. It might still be S tier strong, but I think the thing with Bomb Tower is that, like, every other building in the game isn't that good, with the exception of the Goblin Cage right now, which is why Bomb Tower is as popular as it is. But I think Bomb Tower truly belongs somewhere between good and S tier, but I'm going to go ahead and throw it in S tier still. It kind of belongs in the middle of these two tiers, in my opinion, but I'm going to leave it here in S tier because it is probably one of the stronger buildings in the game right now. So there it is. Bowler going to be a weak card as well. Could definitely use some love. Cannon card going to be average. By the way, guys, when I say a card is average, it's not a bad thing. Average is like the baseline of where cards should be power-wise. Anything above average is like stronger than the baseline. Anything below average is weaker, obviously. So the average is kind of like where you want the card to be, ideally. Ideally, every card in the game is average, right? Cannon going to be weaker card in Clash Royale. Same thing with Clone Spell. I know Golem Clone is kind of like dominating this season, but like the Clone Spell itself is kind of just like such a hit or miss card. Very, very kind of like novelty. So I definitely think it's a bit of a weaker card in the game. Maybe somewhere between average and weak, but I think, you know, it's so like kind of trolly that the Clone Spell. You know, maybe it's an average. With the nerf Tornado Spell, maybe the Clone Spell is now... No, it's still weak. It's still weak. Dark Prince here going to be average, guys. Same thing with Dark Goblin. Earthquake, I think, is now an S tier strong card. Surprisingly, with that change in May, it's bumped up, in my opinion, from an A tier good card to an S tier card. The reason I say that is because the Earthquake now is able to kill skeletons in one shot, in one tick, whereas previously it was two, which makes it way more versatile, which is good. Obviously, the Earthquake doesn't deal as much damage to buildings now, but it still is very elixir efficient for buildings, and now kills skeletons in one shot or one tick. So it's better to have the Earthquake in almost any deck right now, right? So you have the slow, you have, you know, the tick damage, plus you have the building damage. Earthquake, I think, is an S tier strong card, in my opinion. E-Dragon going to be an average card. E-Wizard going to be a good card, in my opinion. E-Barbs is going to be our first card here on the very bottom tier. Desperately in need of a redesign. Elite Barbarians don't really do anything good in Clash Royale. They don't really destroy tanks that fast. They don't bridge spam that well. They don't, you know, do anything, basically. You're better off using a Knight or a Mini Pekka or a Lumberjack or literally any other card in the game besides Elite Barbarians. I hope they get a redesign soon. Pump, going to be a very weak card. Literally hasn't been a good card in the meta since it could appear in your starting hand. So definitely it's better overall for the game being a weaker card. Elixir Golem, I think, is going to be an average card. Definitely doesn't feel as OP as it once was. Mostly because you have things like Delivery and Bomb Tower, which are popular right now. Maybe if those fell out of the meta, Eagle might bump up again. But I think it's definitely kind of like an average card right now. Executioner, I think, is a bit of a weaker card, especially with the change to NATO this season, not holding cards in place as long. I think Executioner isn't nearly as effective as it once was. Fireball going to be an average card, isn't as versatile as Poison Spell, hence the B tier ranking. Firecracker going to be a good card over here, guys. Can be annoying if your opponent doesn't have answers for it, but isn't like super OP in terms of win rates. Fire Spirit's going to be a weaker card in the game. Could almost even use a redesign as well. Fisherman, very weak as well. Hopefully the Fishy Boy one of these days gets a buff, because he is a legendary card, but still just kind of isn't where he should be. Flying Machine going to be average. Free Spell going to be a weak card as well. Furnace, very weak. This is a card that I think previously I said was weak as well last month. The win rates for Furnace like last month weren't really that high. And then they got nerfed in May out of nowhere. It has less health for some reason. So I think the Furnace is like very weak right now. It currently has one of the lowest win rates in the entire game out of all cards. So it's definitely a very weak card. It used to be here or even here, and it got nerfed like out of nowhere. So now it's down here. Yeah, Furnace is going to be a very weak card. Giant here going to be average. Giant Skeleton going to be a weaker card. Snowball, I think, is a good card for sure. Knockback plus the reset for Infernal Dragons. Goblin Barrel going to be an average card. Goblin Gang, I think, is good because it's more versatile than the Skarmy. Goblin Giant, I think, honestly, it's average. I'm going to change my ranking. Last month, I ranked it as a weak card. I think Goblin Giant is actually kind of like okay. Right? It might be between weak and average. The thing is the Goblin Giant, like the win rates, the Goblin Giant consistently has some of the higher win rates in Clash Royale, but the use rates are always very low. And it's only ever really paired with Sparky. So the question is Sparky kind of just bringing the Goblin Giant up, or is Goblin Giant actually an okay card? I think it's actually somewhere between C and B. I would put it right here if I could, but I can't. But I'm going to say Goblin Giant is average. All right? I'm going to say Goblin Giant is average. Because, you know, it's a unique card. Goblin's going to be average. Goblin Hut going to be a weak card since the nerf in May. It's kind of funny how we had like a month or two of spawner meta, and now they're back to being weak again. Kind of just funny how that worked out. Golem here going to be average. Graveyard going to be a good card for sure. I wouldn't be surprised if Graveyard honestly got a slight nerf like a couple months from now. It's for the past few months, it's been one of the best win rates or best win conditions in the game, sorry. So I wouldn't be surprised if Graveyard got like a slight nerf within the next 4 months. Maybe Graveyard spawns one less skeleton. Might not seem like a whole lot, but throughout the Graveyard kind of duration would lead to like, you know, maybe 100 less damage each Graveyard. Guard's going to be average here for sure. Heal Spirit, I think, is a good card. I love having it in my deck, and it's just a fun card overall. Really love what they did with the Heal Spirit in Clash Royale. Hog Rider average, Hunter average. Ice Golem still good, basically always guaranteed value, and there's so many different things you can do with it on defense and offense. Same thing with the Ice Spirit. Ice Wizard going to be average over here. Infernal Dragon going to be average. Both of them kind of do what they're supposed to do, but aren't overwhelmingly OP. Infernal Tower, however, weaker right now. Knight, I think, is a good card for sure. Lava Hound is between good and average. I want to throw in an average. It isn't like overwhelmingly OP this season, but it's one of those cards that occasionally, out of nowhere, just pops up into the meta and does very well. But right now, at this point in time, it isn't dominating. So therefore, it is B tier, average tier. Lightning Spell going to be weak. Lumberjack going to be average. Magic Archer, once again, guys, is back to being a good card. Now, it isn't as like brokenly overpowered as it once was before like all this stuff happened. It used to be up here like 2 months ago, but now it's just good, right? It's above average, but not overwhelmingly OP. Mega Knight going to be a good card as well. Same thing with Mega Minion. And I want to throw in the Miner here, guys. Miner is an S tier strong card. It got a nerf, I think it was 2 months ago, something like that. Still a strong card, S tier. Works in so many different decks. It is a win condition. It is a support unit. You can use it to snipe enemy units. You can use it on defense. So it's very, very versatile, works in many different decks, and therefore is an S tier strong card in my opinion. Minion Horde is weak, just too risky. People always have arrows whenever you use Minion Horde, so very, very risky card. Minion's going to be a A tier good card. Mini Pekka has fallen down 1 tier, is now A tier good. Used to be OP. With the range reduction, it's now kind of like more so where he should be. Still above average in my opinion, but isn't as OP as he once was, so therefore he's A tier. Now moving on here, guys, we got the Mirror as a very weak card. Mortar can be average. Musketeer. This is an interesting card. I honestly think Musketeer is another card that's kind of low-key flying under the radar in terms of her strength. So I consider her an S tier strong card. She's got long range, high damage output, and overall it's just a very effective card in Clash Royale. So definitely an S tier card in my opinion. Nightwitch going to be B tier average. Pekka going to be A tier good. Poison A tier good. More versatile version of a Fireball. Princess average. Same thing with Princess. Rage is going to be very weak. Ram Rider is average. Rascal is average. Rocket is going to be average. Ghost as well. Royal Giant as well. Royal Hog's going to be A tier good in my opinion. Royal Recruits, however, the very opposite, need a redesign. Royal Recruits desperately need some love in the game, and I hope they get a redesign sometime soon. Skarmy going to be average. Skarmy is basically a less versatile version of Goblin Giant, which is why it's 1 tier lower, but still effective when you need it. Skeleton Army, or Skeleton Barrel, sorry, I think it's going to be a S tier strong card. Very, very punishing. Basically always forces out a response, and can be used on defense as well. Therefore, I think S tier. Skeleton's going to be good tier. Basically always guaranteed value. Sparky as well, I think is good tier. Spear Goblin's going to be average. Tesla average. Log is good. Two Musketeers average. Tombstone as well. NATO has fallen 1 tier. Last month, I ranked it right here, an S tier. This month, I now consider it A tier, good tier. Valkyrie going to be good as well. Wallbreaker's good. Wizard's going to be weak. Witch as well needs to redesign very, very badly. She's on the bottom tier as well. Expo is going to be a good card. Zappy is very weak, needs some love. And Zap, one more time over here, guys, going to be a good card as well. But there is your May 2020 power ranking, in my opinion, in Clash Royale, every single card ranked. I will go ahead and show on screen right now my power ranking for last month, so you can go ahead and compare them from this month to last month. Feel free to leave your thoughts down below in that comment section. Do you agree or disagree with my power ranking? If you could create your own power ranking, what would you change? What about my list do you disagree with? What would you change? What would you rank higher? What would you rank lower? Let me know, guys, down below. But really enjoy doing these videos for you guys, and I might make it a monthly series. So let me know if you like that idea. But guys, that is the end of the video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like if you want to see more of these power ranking videos. We shall see you guys in the next one.